Do you know the Klingon proverb that tells us revenge is a dish that is best served cold? It is very cold in Spain.
My friends, welcome back to the Review Den. You're looking at the first expansion for the 90s stompy goat, MechWarrior 2, Ghost Bear's Legacy. And yes, Mercenaries is somehow considered an expansion even though it's clearly its own game. But Ghost Bear was a proper standalone expansion, mostly recycling Mech 2 assets to give players a third campaign in the wake of the Refusal War. And like all direct-to-video sequels of blockbuster movies, this time, it's personal. See, the thing with MechWarrior 2 is it was mostly just a policy dispute that got, admittedly, a little out of hand. We take back our home with fire and brimstone.
I just think we could be nicer about it.
So, you refuse to shake hands with me, eh?
But in Ghost Bear, a splinter of the defeated wolves steal the genetic markers of your founders, meaning unless you're some free-birth toad, they haven't just insulted your honor, they've threatened your very future. The clans are kinda odd. So get your claws out, cadet, we're hunting big game today. Alright, cool story, bro. You just want to blow stuff up, though. How's the gameplay, especially compared to Mech 2? Well, the thing with Ghost Bear's Legacy is it's a lot of one step forward and one step back. I mean, it's more Mech 2, which is always a good thing, and there's more content, new mechs and weapons, but it all feels let down by the level design. Many have mentioned the campaign structure, and yeah, we'll get to that, but no, I'm talking about the actual designs, the layouts, and maps of the missions. See, the missions in Mech 2 were surprisingly dense considering the simple geometry. There were always some rolling hills, fire bases, or cities to fill the landscapes. This made for fun exploration and, well, visual interest, but more importantly, it broke up the sight lines. Combat was fun in Mech 2 because it was dynamic. There were always some obstacles for you or the AI to work around, and it meant you could make the most of different mech and weapon types. Missiles were great in an open field, but you'd want to back them up with cannons or medium lasers once you started dodging buildings. And since both would appear in the same mission, it rewarded balanced builds. But in Ghost Bear's Legacy, the missions feel like empty arenas. It makes for some bland, and if you're not ready for it, exploitable combat by both sides. Ghost Bear ups the difficulty, and it does feel like they might have played with the damage modifiers, but mostly it's because there's no environment to work around, like a Call of Duty map that's just an open field for snipers. But, as I mentioned, it can be exploited, and yeah, just approach everything at an angle and run very long-range builds. It's not very interesting, but it works. And hey, maybe that's what they wanted. I like missile boats. If you like running missile boats, this is your game. But given the pretty legendary crunch the Activision devs were under, it feels more likely this was all just rushed. Mech 2 had a great campaign with dense, multi-part missions, and Ghost Bear just doesn't match up. Now, there is some creativity in the environments. You'll get missions out in space, underwater, even in forests, which play with your target lock. But again, one step forward, one step back. You can lose half your weapons in one salvo underwater, which makes that mission very cheap. And the game engine doesn't handle clipping issues well, especially when the walls start closing in. Could someone give me a push? Anyone? Well, at least it's equal opportunity. Thankfully, there is new content. You get 14 new BattleMechs, including some inner sphere mechs, since the Jags hired out some mercenary help.
That would make for a good game.
And new weapons, including big cruise missiles, an anti-missile system, which is super helpful, and incendiaries. The only downside here is the campaign structure. You're only given like 4 chances to choose your mech, after which you're locked in for the next few missions. So it pays to just bring something big and swap out builds in the mech lab. It's an unforced error which kinda undermines all the new content you could be enjoying in the new campaign. At least you can try everything out in instant action. Presentation-wise, yeah, this is the Mech 2 engine, and many out there, including myself, love that high-res, flat-shaded look. But as I mentioned, the environments are a little more bland this time. The mechs look great though, and the developers did try a few neat tricks. There's a cool forest where smaller mechs are hiding between the trees. The ocean floor shimmers and bubbles, and you'll work your way up a big river. The soundtrack is great, even if it reuses some tracks, and you'll get new videos and voice work both before and during the missions, which is a nice touch. Battle Pack Edition adds the software textures of Mercenaries, and it actually kind of works here. The textures help fill in the environments, though I'm still a sucker for the original look. And the CD soundtrack was updated with even more music, some of which shows up in install screens for later versions. The weapon balance of Battle Pack and Titanium is less of an issue in light of the higher difficulty, but these versions are plagued by disappearing sprites. If you only run lasers and LRMs, I guess this isn't a problem, but it's brutal if you use PPCs, Arrow 4s, or Gauss rifles, which are sadly really useful here. And on that note, Titanium Edition is really hard to recommend this time. Even using a modern installer, you'll need large address aware to avoid glitching out minutes into gameplay, on top of the terrible sprite issues. While MechWarrior 2 Titanium was held together with tape, at least it worked from start to finish. This feels kinda broken. I mean, they didn't even get the right emblems on the mechs. There's also some level of detail bugs which can make things pretty ugly up close. But as an aside, if you'd like a quick overview on how to run the different versions, feel free to check out my MechWarrior 2 video. Titanium version aside, the nice thing about Ghost Bear Legacy is it's more MechWarrior 2, and to me that's always a good thing. It has a cool story, new hardware, and functions effectively as a tough third campaign after the original two. That said, you could start to see how quickly the developers wound up being squeezed by Activision. The campaigns of Mech 2 are absolute classics with dense maps and varied objectives. Here, everything feels like it's being rushed along. If you have easy access to it, I'd absolutely give Ghost Bear a shot, but if finding and installing it seems like a hassle and you only have the original, I'd say you're perfectly set with that. Start a new campaign, maybe run some new mechs or builds, there you go. Mercenaries, on the other hand, definitely a must-play, but Ghost Bear can feel like that TV movie lost between two blockbusters. You'll watch it if it's on, but it's no biggie if you miss it. But what do you think? Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong. I appreciate all your comments and interaction, I honestly do. And if you enjoyed this video, would you be my next subscriber? No matter what though, thanks for watching, and be sure to keep going even when things get tough, because you are worth it.